A few moments later. One eternity later.
I gotta clean this up a little bit. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today's the day I finally do a video on my 2003 6-liter Powerstroke. Before we do anything though, I do need to clean the truck up. I have never cleaned the truck from the day I purchased it back in, I believe it was November of last year. So I'm gonna real quick just go ahead and vacuum it out and just wipe it down. Nothing too fancy. Let's do that before we get into anything. This is just awful. Cleaned up and went a little bit crazier than I thought I was gonna go. I thought it was gonna be like a quick vacuum job, but I don't think this thing's been cleaned in many years, and I think it was used as a work truck previously, so it took a little bit longer than I expected. I was gonna break out the wet vac and go at it, but today's just not the day for that. So I wasn't gonna do this, but I'm gonna give it just a quick hose down on the outside, because I did notice there's a ton of dirt and sand on it from just driving around at my storage lot. So we're gonna do that real quick, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of this video. So we got my baby looking camera worthy, at least somewhat. Now we're gonna go to a filming location. We'll take a look at the truck and we'll talk about it a little. I'll go over all the details of it, but before we do that, there is one thing that I have to do that if you're a 6.0 owner, you absolutely know this is a must. You have to do this, otherwise you're just gonna have a lot of problems. There's a little ritual every 6.0 owner knows about. This should be done maybe once or twice every week, just depending on what kind of condition your truck is in. But if you have a 6.0, you absolutely know what I'm talking about. Take it all. All right, now that that's done, I feel a whole lot better. Let's hit the road. Truck is finally done, and I'm happy to introduce it to the channel. It is a money pit. This truck has been one of the worst ordeals I've ever gone through in my life, and it's been a financial burden now for many months. I purchased this truck not too long ago because I was trying to expand my business a little bit, and I really needed something that could tow. At the time when I bought this truck, it was a good deal. Looking back on it, not really. The kid that sold me this truck just absolutely royally screwed me. I checked it over, everything seemed good. It was studded, but it had a blown head gasket, and in fact it had a blown motor, which I didn't really know about until I drove an hour and a half to go pick up a dump trailer that I purchased. On the way home, about 20 minutes maybe into my trip, I broke down. So I was over an hour away from home with a dump trailer. So when I broke down, the truck got extremely hot. I mean, there was just steam pouring out the hood. So I kind of figured that no matter what the problem was, it was going to be bad, because it's never good when one of these trucks gets that hot. It was a miserable experience. I was on the side of the road for 5 hours. Thankfully, the guy who I got the trailer from was kind enough to come get it, and I had my truck towed back home. The story could have ended there. I could have just left it. I could have just said F it, but the story did not end there. The next day after I got home, I had this truck towed to a local shop here. The best shop I could find in town. They have a great reputation. They took the truck. Before they could even figure out what was wrong with the motor, they needed to get it running, and that probably cost me about $2,500 just for them to get it in running condition, so that they could tell me that my head gasket was blown. I was like, all right, well, how much is that gonna be? So they gave me another price, which was around $6,400 for the head, and I'm like, okay, you know what, that's fine. I will just do the head gasket. I'll just bite the bullet. I'll lose the six something thousand dollars. It's fine. It is what it is. The truck will serve its purpose. It'll make that money back for me. And I thought that was going to be the end of the story with this thing. I was completely wrong, because when they tore down the truck down to the block, I'll put some pictures up on a screen here, but basically the block was not salvageable. Whoever had basically run this truck with a blown head gasket, just filling it, cooling up with water again and again, and it had just eaten away at the block. So I needed to get a new long block, and I could have just stopped there, but I didn't. I kept going. I don't know, I'm stubborn, and I wanted to fix it. Looking back on it, again, should have stopped right there. Should have just paid the money to the shop for doing the work they did, taken my parts home, and dealt with it at another time, you know, just let it sit. But I didn't. I went online and I found a company that they sell reman long blocks. It's a company called J&K Engines. They're based out of Tennessee, I believe. So I placed an order with them for a long block. I had them add a stage 2 cam to it, and then I just waited. I waited about 3 weeks. They told me to waited 3 weeks. It's okay. Shipped it out. They were having some issues. They didn't have everything they needed to build the engine, but eventually they got it shipped. Took the shop a few days to put the engine in the truck. This engine is still not even broken in. I think I have about 1,000 miles on the motor. From the comments on my other videos, people are always asking me, well, how much did you pay for this? How much did you pay for that? And I have about $23,000 into the truck. This truck's not going anywhere for a while. It's got a lot of issues still. For example, cosmetics. If you take a look, the seat is not in the best shape. But you know what? I can deal with stuff like that. It's just little things here and there. If you want to know more about this truck, I'll make a kind of an in-depth video going into what happened and just a breakdown of the costs. I'm gonna make a guide on how to purchase a used 6-liter at some point down the road. The next video you're gonna see on the channel is me taking this truck up to Tallahassee to pick up a Ford Bronco. If you have any suggestions as to what you want to see on the channel, just let me know. I'm happy to, you know, take any input. I'm just getting started with this YouTube thing, and I'm not the best. I know my editing still is kind of bad, and I'm not super comfortable in front of a camera, but I'm trying to get better. So please, any feedback, any suggestions on content you want to see, just drop them down below and let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, like and subscribe. Thank you.